Hey guys, welcome back to the Quarter Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh, and this is my friend Leanne. You guys know Leanne. Leanne is at the pub with a baby.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's okay then.
Leanne's hanging out at the pub with a baby, but she decided that she would join us this morning to help save me from myself because I was getting very confused last night. I think the conclusion I came to was that I should not read, complicated stuff after taking a melatonin, but most people would probably consider that a no-brainer. So this letter, this 3-page letter. This is the response to it's Wayfair's argument with the Edgeworth security documents, which was Edgeworth was the firm that they used when they were terminating Jennifer Abel, and then they took the forensic data off her devices. And then she had also claimed that they basically forced her to stay in that room, I think is what she was saying. But this letter, so they're talking about that crime fraud exception because Stephanie Jones is saying that those communications with Edgeworth are privileged communications. And then Brian Friedman, or not Brian Friedman, but the attorneys for Wayfair came back and said they were going to try to invoke the crime fraud exception. This letter from Stephanie Jones, where they're arguing against that, is this the one where you were trying to sum it up and all you put on Twitter was, I think it was a gif of a piece of crap or something?
Oh, that wasn't my gift. I think.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay, yeah, no. So,
but I think I started with "This is just nonsense."
Yeah, no, I remember. I was just thinking Leanne is thoroughly unimpressed right now. What was your overarching take? Yeah, what was your overarching take on this letter?
Well, I kind of really got excited actually because I thought, right, okay, Wayfair's response was it was really good. It explained everything. And I was like, she's got to come back now, and we're going to finally see her, go walk us through what happened, produce a subpoena, maybe, something. But she just skirted over all of it, and then when she did reference, I think it was on the last page, she references the Vanzan lawsuit and the subpoena, just to call it wild.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there thinking, well, we saw it exists, and Lively's lawyers come out and admitted it. So
her attorneys went on Billy Bush and talked about it as well. Stephanie Jones' attorneys went and talked about it. So I don't know.
I know.
What is the point of that?
Exactly. Are you just going to piss the judge off now if you don't, kind of start addressing this, taking it seriously?
This is why I was so confused, though. I was like, am I high? What am I missing here? What's happening?
We're missing the subpoena.
Yeah, no, still. Absolutely. Let me see if I can find that. Okay, I'm going to read this sentence here. Let's see. Okay. I'll just read this paragraph. It says, Wayfair parties present only 2 documents other than their own prior pleadings in purported support of their argument, and these are the documents relating to the Vanzan John Doe lawsuit. Neither of these documents offer any factual or evidentiary support for any of the Wayfair parties' wild claims. Oh, they did use that word. Exactly. Okay. They do not relate to Abel's termination in August. They do not relate to Abel's return of her JonesWorks owned iPhone to the company at the time of that termination or alleged access thereafter. Even the Wayfair party's effort to connect these 2 documents to JonesWorks is supported by nothing more than wild speculation and yet more bald repetitions of things the Wayfair parties previously alleged. Okay, so I guess they're kind of just vaguely alluding to this. I don't understand what they were really saying though. Oh, there it is. Okay. What is more, despite the Wayfair party's bombastic allegations of a sham action, those allegations, even taken on their face, fall short of establishing any cogent theory of a crime or fraud involving JonesWorks and Edgeworth. I think that's about it there. I can't tell if you're talking or someone in the background is talking, but you're breaking up if you are.
No, your microphone's going a bit funny.
What's that?
Your microphone was going a bit. Ken?
Man, your microphone's cutting in and
your
out.
Microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Oh, there we go then. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I could hear you, but it was kind of like it was really computerized. Your voice was.
Oh no, it's
But I did say I don't know what she's on about either.
yeah. I don't know. I just felt like it said nothing, but it was using big
Yeah.
words. Is kind of what my impression of that was. I'm kind of I'm still kind of confused by what they're even saying here.
You want me to kind of explain what they're moaning about?
Yeah. Good.
So basically, and she subpoenaed herself for the same thing. But they've gone to this company, which in Jen Abel's pleadings, that is the forensic extraction computer IT company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who extract that's another part.
Oh
They've
man,
gone to them and they've asked for information.
Sorry, your microphone was cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
No, you're good.
can you hear me? Yeah. So they've gone to this company and they've said, oh look, we want they want all the information.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically said, right, we want all this information from you. Stephanie Jones has been notified by the company, which is the one thing she didn't do for Wayfarer in a nice little. And basically now she's done what Wayfarer should have been able to do, which is come in and go, do you know what, I'm not happy, I want to quash this.
Yeah.
And basically she's not happy, she doesn't want to hand over the information. And that's why we're here now. So there's a motion to quash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what all this is about. Wayfarer have obviously then responded and gone, well, hold on a minute, woman, can you hear yourself? You're not happy about a third party subpoena, but yet you were only too happy to oblige Lively, because technically Edgeworth are in the same position as Stephanie Jones was with the Vanzan subpoena.
Mm-hmm.
She was a third party. But Stephanie Jones is saying, well, it's improper to subpoena a third party, which is a bit double standard.
Is that's not true though, is it? It's not, is it improper?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, that's the whole point. Like the interrogatories are, well, give us the names of all these people.
Yeah.
Well, if you know the names, then you can subpoena them. The whole point of getting the information from the interrogatories is so that you can obtain information from those people. Well, that's what they're doing here. They clearly knew about Edgeworth from the start.
Right.
Because I'm sure Jen Abel has told Wayfarer. So, so I don't know what she's on about, to be honest. I think that's just ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. And then we had this other motion to quash last night, and that's the one where I was getting confused because this is Taylor Swift's firm, and I guess they had served them with a subpoena. What are they wanting? Communications with Blake Lively's attorneys or something? What is it they're asking?
Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion over this. I had so many people say to me, oh, have you looked at the Taylor Swift subpoena? But when I looked at it, it is not Taylor Swift subpoena at all.
Yeah, I was a little confused with that. I was reading through it last night, and I was like, wait a minute. Because somebody tells me this is her firm.
Her lawyer.
So I assumed they were just not using her name to kind of get rid of the visibility, but I guess that's not the case. They sent a separate subpoena to her, and they sent one to her firm.
Yeah, so there's a separate subpoena for Taylor Swift. But this is her lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was another thing that some people got confused about as well, is in the footnote on page 12 where it says, that, there is a different subpoena to our client who it doesn't say it's Taylor Swift, but you can infer it's Taylor Swift because Baldridge is known as Taylor Swift's attorney. But it says there is a different third party subpoena, and a lot of people they misunderstood that as well and thought that there was a third subpoena, so there were three of them.
Yeah, I thought there
It's
was a
not.
separate one. I thought there was a separate one sent to Baldrige, which doesn't make any sense in retrospect, but I really needed to go to bed. So that did not help the situation. Okay, so this was on April 28th. The subpoena to the firm was served. That was the day that everyone was like blowing up my phone because Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds, which is
Yes.
something I totally would not have noticed on my own, but then that's all I heard about for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then this subpoena to Taylor Swift that's noted in the footnote here was served on May 8th at 9:33 p.m. So that makes sense because everything came out on Friday afternoon. So
Yeah.
the timing kind of makes sense there. But they did find out that they were going to be asking for those communications on April 28th. So the idea that this was a shock subpoena to Taylor Swift, that is not. I'm not buying it. That's kind of bullshit.
It's a shock. I mean, they're not. This is not unreasonable. I mean, subpoenaing Taylor Swift is not unreasonable because, in fairness, it's not even like it was Wayfair who were kind of saying, they're not just gone after her for. I've seen people like Ex-Patriarch and a few others, the pro-lively sort of say, it's just clickbait or you're just trying to get attention. I think Blake Lively even said it herself, that it was alleged that Taylor Swift, it was in a Daily Mail story, which Taylor Swift then come out and said was due to Blake Lively putting that out there. But this is completely expected. Mm-hmm. I said it from the start, of course she's going to be subpoenaed because, Blake Lively herself sat through how many of those press tours and said, "Oh, she's all over this film. Mm-hmm. She did this. She was in everything." Yeah. And then we had all the text messages as well about dragons and her being at that meeting. She has information. So all the subpoena does is say, Taylor Swift, right? We've been told you may have some relevant information. We are asking you to produce these documents. And she will end up doing a deposition. Mm-hmm. She may end up being called to testify if it goes to trial. Right. But it's not targeted to just her. Because I know I've had a few. I mean, I like Taylor Swift myself, but I think when I put up my post about this subpoena, I had 2 Swifties.
Oh no!
Who, within 30 seconds, they had just I was like.
It's always a Taylor Swift plot.
Yeah, and it was so aggressive. I was like, "What are you getting so emotional about?"
Why are there so many of them? They're always there. I'm like, I'm nobody. Why are you on my tweets right now? 5 seconds, and I'm not even saying anything rude.
I know. I didn't even have this response when I did something in Ryan Reynolds' name. It was completely I mean, they weren't rude to me or anything. I know that some content creators have had, pretty horrific things said to them, when they dared to mention Taylor Swift's name.
Yeah.
It was just the way they kind of when you throw meat into a tank full of piranhas.
Wait,
they would just comment, when they go nuts then, and just kind of eat something alive, within seconds. My comments.
Do you frequently observe piranhas just attacking?
No, I just watch TV.
Okay.
No, but it's when within 30 seconds of the post being up, they'd started commenting on the thread. They were talking to each other, and there was about 20 or 30 comments. And within the first minute, and I was like, "Oh my god, calm down!" And it was all really quite. Emotional and aggressive towards Wayfair. Everything's Wayfair's fault. It's well, no, Blake Lively has made these statements. This is why he is getting subpoenaed because of Blake Lively.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't know. There's not much you can do. There's just so many people who freak out over this stuff. People are way too emotionally invested.
They are.
Especially the Taylor Swift stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm not did you even listen to anything that I said before you decided to call me a fat piece of shit? Wow.
Oh God, really? Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they think she's above being subpoenaed in this case. This is not just it's not like it's a lawsuit, with people like me and you. This lawsuit has got Ryan Reynolds in it, for God's sake,
Right. Right. Yeah.
Taylor Swift is like not that special when it comes to, you know, when it's a lawsuit with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
They're in
Reynolds,
the
is that the
same
guy from
league.
Green Lantern? Did you ever watch that movie?
I did watch it. I found an interesting scene with a dance scene there.
What's the what scene?
Did
Oh, the
you not
dance
see it?
scene.
There's a dance scene in the Green Lantern actually where Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have a identical dance scene to the behind the scenes footage.
I did see that going around. I didn't really watch it too closely though.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put that post up.
Gotcha. No, I'm like the only person I know who didn't hate that movie.
No,
But
I
it came
hated
out
it.
I think I was in high school when that came out though. So it's been a while. But people were just like, this was a terrible movie, and I know he didn't want to do a sequel, and I'm like, that's the one thing you've done that I'm not gonna hate on right now, and everybody else already hates it. So I mean,
Do you know,
I feel like
watched the-
I'm at an army of my own here.
I watched it the day after having a general anaesthetic. I think that's the only way I could
Oh,
get through it.
okay, that all makes sense now. Oh my god. I feel like you would need to give me a general anesthetic if I watched it again, but at the time it was not.
Yeah. It was watchable once. Yeah, I agree with that. But
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that planned, second movie.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have to look for a separate motion to quash that would have to name Taylor Swift. I think it could be just this one from her law firm if they wanted to quash that.
See, that's the thing, right? We don't really know. Like, I would think if she's gonna quash it, it will come. I would assume it's going to come from the same law firm, but it may not.
Yeah.
Now, people are saying, "Oh, well, this was done on this docket to hide it." I don't think so. I think that's just the jurisdiction of.
They're in
Because
DC, right?
yeah, because that's where the subpoena has been served. So it's the same as Jed Wallace when Blake Lively filed to have him go through that Rule 202 deposition.
Yeah.
In Texas, she had to file it under Texas. It's just where they are. So they've responded to that by filing the motion to quash in what I'm guessing is their kind of local court. The subpoena with the lawyers, I'm not entirely sure what has gone into that, because that does seem a bit, just if I'm looking at that and I've only got that information, is to me, I'm like, well, why are you subpoenaing this law firm?
Yeah, I don't know either.
But there must be something that either they already know because it happened during the set of during the filming, or there is something that's come up in discovery.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
When we get Wayfair's response, we will know a lot more then about the context behind what was their thought process. So I don't want to say, oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And I know a lot of people also say, well, hold on a minute, Blake Lively was stopped from going back to 2022. Why does he think he can do it? It's a different situation. Blake Lively was stopped from going that far back because she brought her claims on the facts of the retaliation, and that in her own pleadings only started in August 2024. Right. So that is why her discovery was limited to that time period. It's not something like, well, you can only go to 2024, so therefore that's not going to apply to every party in this. The discovery period will be whatever is relevant to specifically what they're looking for their specific claims, and all the claims are different. Does that make some sense?
Yeah. It's I was getting a little confused in that timeline too, and all that. Because that was when they were asking for the phone records, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this doesn't really say too much other than like the reasons they want to quash it was like irrelevancy, undue burden.
Yeah.
There's nothing too crazy interesting in here other than that note about her being served on May 8th, but
yeah. I mean, what they're saying though is, like I say, based on the information we have right now to look at it and go, well, I mean, I've got nothing from Wayfarer, so basically
Mhm.
their argument in this, without the context, is a reasonable argument,
Okay.
and it's one that I would say I would make that argument myself.
Hmm.
But I will be keeping an eye out for Wayfarer's response and to say, to put the puzzle pieces together and make sense of why they made that request.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the last thing we have here, which was the motion to dismiss the indemnification claims. Let's see. Pull that up. And there's not too much new in here. There's lots of flowery language, just like the last one. They're these two are basically just calling each other different variations of insane. There's a lot of hatred there, you could tell. But
oh my god, yeah. Although, do you know what? I've got to say, I personally see more hatred for Justin Baldoni in those filings from Stephanie Jones than I see for Abel.
Really?
Yeah, I see. She's really scathing. She's, the sexual harassment claims are a done deal as far as she's concerned.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, she's no benefit of the doubt, and I found it odd because she should know this because she represented the guy all through all of this.
Yeah. Anyways, we're seeing the same text messages as last time, pretty much. I mean, this was just was this an amended claim?
Yeah.
Okay.
They amended everything, didn't they?
Yeah. All right. So this is basically the same as last time. It's saying she, went rogue. It uses the word rogue in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
She went rogue. Her ever-increasing parade of inapplicable statutes and claims cannot change the reality that Abel went rogue. Okay. And then I'll go down to the bottom here and see if there's anything new about. Let me. I don't remember if she mentioned all the John Doe stuff or not.
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't either. Hang on. I'm not entitled for indemnification.
I don't think the Vanzan subpoena really come up. Not in Abel's counterclaim. So I don't think that.
Right.
I don't think it's likely that Jones will then mention it in her response in her opposition because she's supposed to stay within the four corners of the complaint.
Mm-hmm. Here we were going through bullet points of all the ways that she had scorned Stephanie Jones. Let's see. Abel recommended Wayfarer hire Nathan, even though Jones told her not to. When Jones attempted to insert herself into the mix of Abel's work, Abel objected. At Abel's prompting, Wayfarer instructed Jones to cease all activities on behalf of Wayfarer and Baldoni. Abel harshly criticized Jones for refusing to be sidelined. Even Abel admitted that she was prepared to engage in over-the-top steps for Wayfarer and Baldoni, steps that were, without question, outside of the instruction and desire of Jones Works. I don't remember that last part, but...
No. Are you aware of the history? You should. You might be, actually. Of why Stephanie Jones doesn't like Melissa Nathan.
That's something that I remember hearing about a little bit, but it's been so long that I don't remember.
She actually hired her. And for some reason, I think Melissa Nathan withdrew from the offer of employment.
Okay, yeah.
And Stephanie Jones then went to a client of Melissa Nathan's and kind of badmouthed her. Lost her the client.
Okay, yeah. These publicists, man, I'm like, you guys, I feel like they all went to a birthday party that I wasn't invited to and everyone was fighting and now I have no idea what is going on.
Well, I find the publicists quite interesting, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, so.
Hold on, there's another thing that just popped up on this docket. Give me 1 second to check it before we sign off here.
Yep.
Oh, well, I'm going to sneeze.
That's not nothing new, is it?
Let me see. Several orders set up. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it can't be. No, there is something new. Let me check what it is real quick.
I'm sure my alerts are on like a lag or something.
Maybe. I don't know. This could just be like more of the same, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, so this is Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds move to intervene and quash the subpoena issued to Venable LLP. So this is kind of like what Stephanie Jones was doing for Edgeworth. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. So is this, who is it against? They're looking to intervene in with the Venables.
Yeah, so Blake and Ryan are moving to quash the subpoena to Venable.
Of course they are.
Yeah. Well, that was fast, but
It was ready to go.
I guess so, man. All right. I don't know if there's anything too, crazy in here, but we can skim through it. Let's see.
I have not seen that yet, so and I can't see it from my phone.
Okay, so they're moving to intervene in this matter to quash a third-party subpoena served on Venable, join Venable's motion to quash, and 3, quash the subpoena, or in the alternative, seek entry of a protective order. All right. The lively parties have a substantial interest in the subject of this action, and the court's disposition of the action may impair or impede the lively parties' ability to protect their interest. Okay.
Interesting. I wonder what they're seeking to protect. Because the only communications that have been asked for are only in relation to the film.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, they can't seek to protect her. I'm not quite sure what the circumstances would be, because although it's an attorney, it's not an attorney-client.
Yeah.
This attorney is not their client.
Yeah, that is weird. Okay, let's see. Venable does not oppose the lively party's motion to intervene. Of course not. No.
No, of course not.
Counsel for the Wayfair parties did not respond to a request for their positions as to the motion to intervene, and their position remains unknown. Okay. In response, did they email it to them on a Friday night before a holiday and say you have 2 seconds to respond? Or just checking, because that's a thing that's been going around, I guess.
I'm amazed it's not in the New York Times.
Yeah. In response to the lively parties' attempts to confer with the Wayfair parties regarding the subpoena, the Wayfair parties did not substantively engage, as further discussed in the memorandum of law accompanying this motion, which we have here. Hold on. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of case stuff in here that I'm going to have to skim over, because I'm definitely not trying to decipher all that myself in the moment here. But Miss Lively initiated litigation against the Wayfair parties in New York. Let's see. A lot of this sounds the same as like the other document that we read last night.
Yeah.
It's just talking about her claims. Let's see.
Did she say whether she's nude in this one or in the birth scene, or
what's that?
Did she mention whether she's nude in the birth scene in this one, or is she partially nude?
Not yet, but there's always time. There's still time. In the course of discovery, the Wayfair parties served the subpoena to Venable, a law firm that does not represent any party to the actions, and as of the date of service, did not represent any third party served with discovery in any of the actions. Seeking all communications about the litigation between Venable and other attorneys who represent the lively parties, including all communications without limitation between certain specific attorneys. Okay. None of the more than 250 requests for production that the Wayfair parties have served on the lively parties in the underlying litigation have asked for this information. Thus, the only conceivable interpretation of the Wayfair parties' decision to subpoena Venable is that they hope to obtain the communications of their own opposing counsel via a third-party subpoena. In response to attempts to confer relating to the subpoena, the Wayfair parties implied that they intended to work solely with Venable and not undersigned counsel. Wait, what? Okay. In response to attempts to confer relating to the subpoena, Wayfair implied they intended to work solely with Venable, not with undersigned counsel, and therefore did not need to explain how the subpoena possibly could be relevant to any claims or defenses of the actions, stating only that the purpose of the subpoena is to require production of the documents relevant to this case. But the Wayfair parties must explain to this court why they are seeking opposing counsel's communications from a third-party law firm, including why they are relevant to any claims or defenses, and how any responsive, relevant materials would not be protected work product. All right. So a lot of this is just the background of the cases, which obviously we don't really need to go over.
Yeah.
We threw in Steve Starowitz' $100 million thing about ruining Miss Lively's
Oh, is it
family
in
life.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is.
We're still harping on that one. Which
God.
I don't think anyone's ever seen proof of that. It's like they just said that he said that, but as far as Steve Sarowitz goes, everything that he has said has been this person is speculating, or this person is alleging that he said that.
Jed Wallace's lawyer said it best. I know that claim just turned out to be Steve Soros was prepared to spend whatever was necessary to defend Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer. That's all it was.
I have your shining moment here. It says, and added unscripted nudity to a birthing scene for which he cast his friend. Yeah, you were right. You were right.
Of course I'm right.
I thought you were being funny. No.
No.
That's in there.
So with her first complaint, she was nearly nude.
Yeah.
With her amended complaint, she was, I think we lost the new. It was like it was downplayed, after it came out that actually she was wearing shorts and all this stuff. But then Jed Wallace's one of her filings with Jed Wallace in Texas, where it's a whole new judge and a whole new docket, where there's no one to argue because Jed Wallace can't argue because he weren't there. She is, and in that filing, she is nude. She's just nude. It's a nude scene.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at these filings going, what are you doing?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why they're still doubling down on that, I guess.
No.
All right.
No, I know. But I will say, same thing applies to this filing as does to Venable. At this point, without context and information, it's not an unreasonable motion to file. I want to see what Wayfarers say because that will give all of the background context. Well, I'm sure there will be a really good reason. I can't see people, the caliber of the lawyers filing, these frivolous motions.
Yeah.
However, I said that about Blake Lively's lawyers, and turns out she filed an entirely frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah, no, I remember that one because we talked about that the night before that all got confirmed. When Without a Crystal Ball had first brought it up, and then I remember I was like adamant. I was like, "There's no way anyone would do this." Oh man! So I try not to be so definitive in my statements anymore because I'm like, well, clearly I just don't understand the lengths people are willing to go to.
Oh yeah, this has been the wildest lawsuit I've ever looked at in my life.
Yeah. Mildly Mercurial says, "Hello, I was just batting at the swarm of bees, aka the Swifties, in Cassidy's comments section." Oh, not Cassidy. Leave Cassidy alone. They need to leave Cassidy alone. She's just so nice. Yeah. Yeah, just come bother me. It's fine. I can handle it. Leave my friend alone. All right. So this, hold on. This, I'm not going to go through the rest of this right now because it's going to be a lot of stuff that I probably want to ask Omar about later because I'm going to be talking to him late tonight. Unfortunately, he's not available right now to come in with us. And, I
have to get on a stream with Omar, I have to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love Omar streams.
That's going to be hard because he's California time and you're in the UK, so.
Yeah, no, but, I've been on streams with so many content creators across America.
Yeah, that's true.
I usually work around it.
I remember you got out of bed that one time. I was like, all right, shit.
Oh, yeah. It was 2:00 in the morning for me, and then we did 2 hours.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I will be, can I just say, I will be doing that filing from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I will be covering that on X in a thread. Okay,
cool. And I'll put a link to Leanne's YouTube channel in the comments, guys, and as well as the description. Somebody says,
my video will be.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say my video we're supposed to do my YouTube video, my weekly one, yesterday. I can see it being late. It might be either tonight or tomorrow, just because of how much is coming out. It's overwhelming.
Edith Deer says, did you delete your last video regarding Taylor's firm Venable's motion to quash? I did. I unlisted it because I thought that it was going to be too confusing because I went through it and I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. And so I felt like it was better just to talk about it this morning when we can get a clearer picture of what was going on rather than let people continue to watch me flail after I had taken my melatonin to understand whatever the fuck was in those documents. So yeah, I did unlist it. That's why I was doing this morning. It was like, you know, we better just start from scratch. So, all right, I do have to clock in at work though, guys. So I'm gonna have to take off now. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Leanne, for joining us, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, all right.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, wait, let me read these real quick. It's Kim.
Okay.
Says, Pacer Bucks. Thank you for the 5. I appreciate you, Kim. We have Sukmani Carr. Thank you for the 10. Thank you for being first and reporting all of this GSW filings. I always look forward to your live updates. Please see by yourself a tasty coffee today. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And I'm sure Leanne, like she just said, will be going over that stuff on Twitter shortly, I guess. I don't. Whenever you are able.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you later.